10864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field. Back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome inside the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you, as always, by On Point Community Credit Union. It just feels better this Monday compared to last Monday. I am in a great mood this morning. Oregon putting up 70 on Eastern Washington on Saturday, getting their first win. Congratulations as well to Coach Dan Lanning. First win as the head coach of the Ducks. And, well, that's a big deal. That's something to get off your shoulder. And, you know, Dan Lanning didn't really bask in the glory at all after the game. He's like, yeah, but when can I get to the film room? When can I start preparing for BYU, which comes up this weekend? That'll be a 12:30 kickoff. Looking forward to seeing a packed Autzen Stadium. I'm not expecting an empty seat in the entire stadium. A couple days before school, Scott, you and I were arguing. Scott was like, there are going to be a couple empty seats. I'm like, no, it's going to be absolutely crazy. Great job to the fans on Saturday showing up despite the smoke in the air. That was a great environment at Autzen Stadium, and we're looking forward to seeing you there again this Saturday. Takeaways for me. Quarterback, check. Bo Nix, excellent. Took what was given to him the entire game. Did what was asked of him the entire game. 5 touchdowns, no picks, 28 of 33 for Bo Nix. He looked tremendous. Defense, really good. It was kind of a deep defensive performance. Nobody stood out. A couple interceptions, right, from Gonzalez and Triquez Bridges, but nobody had more than 3 tackles. That shows you just how deep Oregon is on defense. That 2 deep, even 3 deep, is really good for the Ducks and will help as the season goes on and, well, other teams start to deal with injuries. Those are 2 of my takeaways, but I'll get more into that in a little while. Let's hear from Dan Lanning, who talked to the media after his first win as Oregon's head coach on Saturday.
They just went out there every single day at practice and said, what can we get better at? I thought our guys, really attacked that. We have a lot of respect for Eastern Washington. They're a good football team. That being said, we felt like our biggest opponent today was Oregon, and we had to go out there and execute well for Oregon. What an awesome atmosphere. Our fans make this place so special. You get to experience shout there in the third quarter. I think there was a lot of juice, surrounding our team and the way they executed tonight. That being said, there's plenty of things that we still want to clean up. I'm anxious to get to the film so we can figure out what we can do better because we're about to play a really good BYU team next week.
So, Coach, a lot of people saw in the Georgia game there was a kind of a running back by committee use. There was 5 different backs, and today another game with 5 different backs. Was that the plan going into the season, or did that kind of more come to fruition right before the Georgia game?
I think I've said it from the beginning. If you're good enough, you're old enough. We're going to find ways to get into a rhythm. But if we have players that can play at a high level, we want to let them play. I think each one of our guys have different skill sets. As the season goes on, we'll continue to evaluate what their strengths and weaknesses are. But I feel really good about that group, and we have good players that can play there. We want to see them.
Dan, you talked a lot this week about execution, making plays for one another, finishing plays. How do you feel like this team came out after the week they had and what they heard and how they responded to last week?
Yeah, we said we want to do simple better, right? And this week was all about doing simple better. It was about fundamentals and technique. I think you saw a lot of that show up in the game. That being said, there's certainly some plays out there that I think we want back, some of our players want back. We'd love to clean up some of the penalties, be able to execute a couple things better. The big kickoff return was a disappointment. We got to do a better job there. But we're going to go back to the doctor on Monday and get it fixed. That's our plan.
From the flowers that Eastern left to Cam wearing Spencer's jersey, Cam getting in the end zone, obviously capped everything. Just thoughts on that moment for Cam and what it meant to kind of honoring Spencer as well.
Yeah, it was, we're talking on the headset going down to that last drive, and Kenny's saying, hey, I think we got a way here that we can get Cam the ball. I think every single one of us wanted that, especially seeing him wear Spencer's jersey tonight. So when you're able to dial it up and get it to him, and he was able to get it in the end zone, I know it was really close. I think Cam come off the field with tears in his eyes. That was a really special moment for him, certainly a special moment for our team, and Spencer will forever be remembered for us.
Dan, I heard your comments on radio saying you didn't face a ton of adversity, but you feel like obviously the execution was there at times. How do you feel like, what did you guys learn about your team? How do you feel like you benefited from this? And we didn't ask you during the week, but just what are your thoughts on these FCS games in terms of just going forward and what value they have or don't have for you as a program?
I got to go back and watch the film. I think there's a lot that we can certainly improve on, but anytime you have an opportunity to go play football, that's exciting for us. We want to get out there on the field and we want to execute. Obviously the benefit of a game like tonight is we got to see a lot of different players that are going to wear green and yellow, and you got to see how they will execute at a high level. Plenty for us to clean up. But for us, we had a bad taste in our mouth after the last game, and we were anxious to get out on the field and play somebody. And I know that that's just going to prepare us moving forward for playing some really good teams as we go down the schedule.
Coach, you said kind of in the lead up to this game that there were a lot of things from that Georgia game that you wanted to address and clean up in practices. Did you see a lot of those addressed during the game tonight? And what more would you like to see from your team going forward before BYU?
Well, we're not playing, our best football yet by any means. I think that the ceiling's, still really high, and there's a lot that we can still improve on. Did we see improvement? Yeah. I mean, we tackled better. We played more physical at the point of attack. We were able to complete passes and not put the ball in jeopardy, own the ball. So all those things are certainly a positive, but it's going to be a challenge as we move forward. It's going to continue to get harder, and we have to continue to play better. So a lot of moments for growth. We have not arrived by any means. We still got a lot of work to do.
In terms of the way you challenged your team this week and what you were looking for, I mean, there were even some days coming off the practice field where you said that you weren't seeing what you wanted to see. Just when did you get a sense that that message was being delivered and that guys were ready to really put this performance together?
Well, I'll say this. It's never been a lack of effort from our players. They've always been committed to doing it right. That doesn't mean we've always done it right, and that's for our coaches as well. But the standard is the standard. We're not going to accept less than the standard regardless of who our opponent is. So that's why I've said so much. Really this week was about playing us, right, and playing the best version of us. I think our guys really bought into that at the beginning of the week. And even though Wednesday wasn't the sharpest practice for us, I think they saw, hey, hard work pays off, right? And when you can combine, really deliberate practice with some talent and skill set, you're going to have great success.
Anytime you put up 70 points, people are going to want to talk about the offense. But I think defensively, things maybe get lost from outside this program of how well you guys played. I think they had less than 100 yards through 3 quarters. What can you say about this performance and just how important was it for this defense to have that performance from a confidence standpoint of just what happened the week before in Georgia of 7 straight touchdown drives?
Yeah, let's be really honest. Georgia's a phenomenal football team, and I don't know that we know exactly where we're at yet. Did we play better tonight? Did we tackle better? Absolutely, but we're going to play some really good teams going forward. I know this. There was 14 points up on that board that I want back, right? And there's definitely some things that we can improve on. So the standard's our standard. We got to continue to measure ourselves to that, and we can certainly play better. It was nice to see us play with a physical brand of football. It was nice to see that regardless of who went on the field, our guys had a sense of, hey, we got to own what every other player has done on this field so far tonight.
I know you're not the most sentimental, but this is your first career win. Does this game ball have a certain spot upstairs on the 4th floor? Will it be making the trip back to Richmond in a couple of weeks?
I haven't even thought about it, man. I'm already thinking about BYU. It's the first time I realized you got a leg tat. I didn't know you had a. Yeah, you should wear shorts more often, man.
Obviously, like you mentioned, this is still a growing thing for this team. But coming off of last week, how important was it for the offense just to see this success in this? The things that you guys are trying to get them to incorporate. How important was that just to be able to get into the end zone after not getting into it last week?
It's kind of the secret to winning, right? The more we can get in the end zone, the better we're going to be. That being said, we had some drives last week. We didn't finish them. I think what we found out tonight is when you don't turn the ball over, right, and you're able to move the ball successfully, you're going to have a chance to win games. And we were able to score points because we didn't turn the ball over, and we were able to finish in the red area.
Kind of following up on that, I'm just wondering what you made of Bo's performance as a whole.
I'm anxious to go back and look at the film. I thought he made, some really good decisions and operated really well. At times, there's a couple plays that I want to go back and look at and see what he saw. But overall, I thought he did a really good job of understanding what we were trying to get accomplished.
Right here, second row on the right.
Coach, what type of advantage does it give you to have different running backs who can mix and match in different roles throughout the game?
Yeah, I mean, it allows you to be fresh. It allows you to be able to, play at a really high level consistently throughout. It also allows you, if somebody gets dinged, where you have somebody else you feel confident can go in there and execute at a high level. But what was fun for me is listening to I think there's been a lot made about our running backs. What was fun for me is listening to the running back that wasn't in, cheering for the guy that was in. There was a lot of that tonight. And I think, seeing guys play team ball, putting, themselves behind the team, right, and putting the team first really led to a lot of success on the field for those guys tonight.
What did you see from Ty? And I realized Jay got in only for a couple of snaps, but what did you see from the other guys? And obviously, as you heard the crowd reaction to Ty coming in, obviously there's still a lot of excitement and hopes that he'll play even more than he got a chance to play tonight then.
Yeah, Ty did a great job tonight. It was fun seeing Ty and Bo and Jay, all those guys really operate. There was a couple times they made some checks based on looks that we had given them during the week, and to be honest, we'd probably given them maybe once or twice, and they were able to get us in good plays based on the looks that we had gotten. Ty did a really good job of getting us into a run check on one of the looks that we saw. So that was encouraging. Went out there and operated. We were talking about where the ball should go on certain plays and based on the coverage, and he was able to read the coverage and take the ball where it needed to go. Didn't have to force anything, but executed at a really high level. And I don't think anybody's as excited about, Ty's performance as his teammates. Ty comes here and works every single day, rolls his sleeves up, and he did a good job today.
It seems like all the quarterbacks kind of had a lot of time in the backfield. Can you speak to the protection of the offensive line and how they improved themselves going on from Georgia?
Yeah, and, I think it's two different fronts that we've obviously played. That being said, you didn't give up a sack, I think, in that game. And in this game as well, we did a pretty good job protecting up front. I want to go back and evaluate the film, see exactly what they did. But there wasn't a ton of pressure. We also got the ball out pretty quick. There was more short passing game than it was down the field. Probably didn't have to go down the field as much.
I know obviously you still have a whole game to watch, not just this one, but the BYU-Baylor game, which is still ongoing.
What's the score?
10-6 BYU, early third quarter.
Got it.
But what Dave runs, and obviously Matt, having been there, how similar, how advantageous is that when just by happenstance, the week before you're about to play them, are they playing a very similar stylistic and simulated pressure defense to what you guys are looking to run?
I haven't watched them this season yet. I'm talking about Baylor specifically. In the past, they've certainly done some stuff that carries over. I'm looking forward to, hopefully being able to watch that film and decimate and, kind of see what they do similar to what, we do. We do have some connections there. So once the game's over with, it's something we can definitely evaluate.
I'm sure Coach Lanning is aware how that ball game concluded, BYU and Baylor. BYU took down the reigning Big 12 champs, 26-20 in overtime, a game in Utah. So coming up Saturday, a battle between two top 25 teams. Ducks trying to, I guess, upset BYU, though I think many in this program feel like, hey, that's a ball game that can be won and should be won. It's certainly how I feel. Either way, expecting to see you at Autzen Stadium on Saturday. That was Dan Lanning after his first win as an Oregon head coach. Wanted to remind you that ski season will be here before you know it. Visit skihoodoo.com for the latest updates on the upcoming season, including preseason sales, deals, and events for the entire family. Hoodoo Ski Area is your locally owned and operated destination for winter fun and a proud supporter of Oregon athletics. Still to come, post-game thoughts from the quarterback, Bo Nix, Casey Rogers, who scored a defensive touchdown, and a lot more. It's Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back here in the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. Ducks put up 70 this weekend against Eastern Washington. This segment, well, we're going to hear from Bo Nix, the starting quarterback who threw 5 touchdowns. We're going to hear from Casey Rogers, who scored a defensive touchdown. For me, before we get to this game recap that was produced that'll give you an idea of what happened, some numbers that stood out to me. Obviously, Bo Nix, 28 of 33, 5 touchdowns, no picks. That was fantastic. How about this? Oregon put up 40 first downs in this game. That's a really impressive number. So impressive that it actually broke a record that stood since 2007, October of 2007. Many fans probably remember a 55-34 beatdown of the Dogs in Seattle behind Dennis Dixon and Jonathan Stewart. The Ducks in that game ran for 465 yards as a group. Jonathan Stewart alone, 251 yards rushing. Dennis Dixon also ran for or beyond the century mark as well. Congratulations to the Ducks on a new record, 40 first downs in the beatdown of Eastern Washington this weekend. Run game was a big part of it. 4 Ducks averaged over 5 yards per carry. Irving, Dollars, Cardwell, Hassenritter. I mean, the run game was really good. 263 yards rushing as a team, and you add 5 passing touchdowns to that number. You're doing some good things. How about Troy Franklin catching the ball? 10 receptions, turning into a go-to guy for Bo Nix early in the season. 2 spectacular touchdowns from Terrence Ferguson, who refused to go down. That guy's going to be a problem this year and next year in the Pac-12. I think maybe one of the best tight ends in the conference, maybe the best. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on Pac-12 tight ends. Maybe I'll do a deep dive and get back to you on that. But anyway, let's hear from Bo Nix. He talked with Joey Mack after the game on the Oregon Sports Network radio call. Here's the quarterback of the Ducks who got his first win as QB1.
Bo Nix, first time that we've gotten a chance to talk on the post-game show. Let's begin with the Autzen experience. What was it like in front of the home crowd for the first time?
Well, it was a blast. It was kind of everything that I've heard coming in. Obviously, the traditions that you'll have is extremely just awesome to be a part of it. I'm happy to be here, obviously, and to go out there and get our first win was extremely important, not only for our offense, but just the entire team. I think that was a fun win to have after a tough week last week.
found a rhythm early, it seemed like. What was working early for you offensively?
We obviously were able to run the ball, and when you're able to run the ball, it opens up a lot of things offensively. And then those just dink and dunk completions that we were able to take just kind of open up the big ones. And then when you're able to move the ball like that, it's just tough to stop.
It seemed like you really spread the wealth. What's it like having that many weapons out there?
Oh, it's a blast. I think you just look up and you find another one, and no telling who on the field can score at any particular moment. Obviously, T. Ferg had 2 tonight. He showed some great moves after the catch, and we all knew he could do that. And that's extremely important. And then I'm happy for Cam. He got 1. Obviously, wearing Spencer's number, which was really, really cool, really awesome. And I'm just excited to be on this team.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the broadcast. First time since 2017 that he's caught a touchdown. So you put one on the money for him, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, he was just very appreciative after that. And I was kind of shocked because nobody's really showed that kind of thankfulness after a touchdown. And so it really is a humbling experience just to see guys, it means a lot to them. And so when it means a lot to them, it just naturally means a lot to me. And just to be able to spread the wealth, like you said, to get the ball in a bunch of different guys' hands. You never know who's going to score. Any given play, somebody could score. And I think that's what's so fun about our offense is we just have a very unselfish offense, and when you have that, usually you score a lot of points.
Moving forward now, got to feel good coming off a big win like this. What are going to be the focuses in practice this upcoming week?
We just got to go back to the fundamentals like we did last week. We know we have a really good opponent that we're about to face. We're fortunate we get them here at home at Autzen, and so that's going to be a good advantage for us having a home crowd, but we know they're going to be a tough physical football program. Obviously, traditionally and historically, we know what they're capable of. They're going to have some really good players. They're going to be physical, well coached. So it's an exciting challenge for us and one that we're going to take very seriously.
All right, Bo, congrats and thanks for the time. We'll catch up with you again post-game, I'm sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's Bo Nix talking with Joey Mack after that win against Eastern Washington. Let's not forget about what happened defensively. The Ducks giving up 2 defensive touchdowns in this ball game. One of them, if you look closely, I think Bennett Williams would tell you that there may have been offensive PI. Maybe I'm biased. I'm seeing it through an Oregon lens, but the defense was tremendous. Sacks from DJ Johnson and Keith Brown, picks from Triquez Bridges and Christian Gonzalez. The Bridges interception turned into a touchdown. After he picked it off, he coughed it up into the end zone. Casey Rogers picked it up and talked about that experience of scoring at Autzen with Joey after the ball game.
Casey Rogers with us, guys, and we were just talking. You're a graduate in the journalism school, so I'm just going to hand the microphone to you and just let you go. You ready for that?
Yeah, I'll put my degree to use. I'm ready.
I like that. You guys were just talking. You got a touchdown in this game. That works out, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it was exciting. It was an interception, and they were running back to the end zone, and unfortunately he dropped that. But fortunate enough for me, I was right there to kind of pick it up. There was a little scrum, and I always go by chase the ball, good things happen. If you're running to the ball, things like that can happen sometimes. So I'm excited that we got an interception. A little disappointed that he dropped it, but I'm happy that I was there to be able to clean it up for him.
Hey, you guys practice that though. You're always running to the ball, right?
Exactly. That's one of the main focuses with Coach Lapoy and Coach Teote and Coach Lanning is that we're always running to the ball. It's one of our standards, and that's just something we do. We gotta be we got to be on top of that as getting to the football, even if we're across the field, especially if in an interception, we got to be able to block for our guys to get downfield, to get into the end zone. So luckily, I was just doing what my training told me to do, and I was able to pick up the ball.
Takeaways, I know, are a focus for this program. How nice was it to get some of those takeaways defensively? Can change the game for you.
Absolutely. That's something that Coach Lapoy hits hard on every day is ball excellence. We, to be able to cause turnovers, those are game-changing plays. And, to be able to get some of those and put some on film and show that we could do that and that our practice is paying off is really exciting. We're going to need those coming down the stretch here with the next games, and especially when we get into the Pac-12 play. But I'm excited that we were able to put some of the balls on the ground and pick some of those balls off, just to get those under our belt and, get in the end zone like we did.
What does this win do for you guys? Just how good the locker room feel after this one compared to last week?
Yeah, I think these games are very important because one, it gives guys confidence. Last week was rough, obviously with the outcome of that game, but it is obviously a very tough situation to be in. Playing Georgia first game is always going to be tough no matter what team you are. So to be able to come back here, come back to practice, fix what we had trouble with against Georgia, and come back. and be able to execute the issues that we had before, and then, be able to correct those, and then come out and actually produce and execute the game plan, and not have those same mistakes was huge. And, it just gives the guys confidence, and we just put up 70 points. That's huge. We got a tough opponent coming up next, and we're going to need that offense. We're going to need that defense to, be able to play against BYU.
All right, Casey, we're glad you're a Duck. Thanks for taking the time, and good luck out there with the rest of them, the real journalists out there,
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I'm happy I'm a Duck. Go Ducks.
Yeah, Casey Rogers just coming for my job, for Joey's job, Jerry Jorge. Sky, he might even be coming for your job. Well-spoken after scoring that touchdown and that big win on Saturday. Good to hear from Casey Rogers. Oregon scored on 9 straight possessions on offense. That was fun. Let's relive that fun with the game recap.
Football's a physical game. Only one way to be played. Today you cash checks, right? We've been making deposits. Today you cash checks.
Breaks down, trying to run away. Caught from behind. Throws, catch made. Ferguson going to the right, still on his feet. 5-3. Don't deny me the end zone, and I'm in for the score. Downfield, this one may be picked, and it is. Has time. Throws. It's caught by Ferguson. Turns and gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon. Throws, catch made, can he get it there? He does. Little screen pass to the left, and it is picked. Set, pressure, comes, hit down. Give it to Cardwell again, he might. 3-2, he will. Score, touchdown Oregon. Again, spinning, getting free to the outside, now cutting it up, and into the end zone.
That was the environment at Autzen Stadium for Eastern Washington. I can't wait to see what happens this Saturday when BYU comes to town. A top 25 matchup. And, it's a 12:30 kick. I think that's the best possible kick time. I like it. I'll see you there bright and early Saturday, 12:30, BYU coming to town. We're going to put football to bed for now. We'll have a lot more of that coming throughout the week here on Duck Insider. When we come back, I was able to talk to Graeme Abel live from, well, I guess not live, but I was able to talk to him while he was in Times Square after yesterday's win against Hofstra, the Ducks taking it to the Big Apple. You'll hear from Coach Abel after this break. We're coming back to the Country Financial Studio after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times.
being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Alex Stimson's in the studio. Wave hello. There he is. What does that say? Help me? Is that what that says? Oh, push-up counter 388. I could maybe get to 1% of that in a day. Maybe. Was able to talk to Graeme Abel today. It was a great chat. He came onto the Zoom, and he just showed up. He's in right in the heart of New York City, right by Times Square. He was in a good mood after Oregon soccer bounced back yesterday with a gritty 1-0 win led by some great defense. Here's part one with Graeme Abel. So lucky to be joined, as we are always joined on Monday afternoon, by the head coach of Oregon soccer, Graeme Abel. Coach, disappointed that you couldn't join me here in studio, but you're making it work. I think you're going to great lengths to make it work today. Where are you right now?
So we're just a couple of blocks off Times Square in New York City, sat at a park called Bryant Park. We're waiting for the bus to head to the airport.
How about that? So Oregon going to New York City for one game this week, and they come out of the state of New York. The first game for Oregon soccer, by the way, in the state of New York, with a victory against Hofstra. Pretty impressive performance by your club, shorthanded on the road. You must be proud, and I imagine that's going to be a really fun flight home for your group.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a mentality standpoint, like I said, I mean, we had a bunch of players that rotated into different positions, ones that they're not really used to, and they did it seamlessly. And I mean, Hofstra's tough. I mean, I think they've lost twice in 34 games at home or something, and I think we were the second loss that they've had. So, yeah, so huge result for us with regards to that. They're always high up in the RPI, and now the kids are out around New York City exploring. So a really cool trip, really good student-athlete experience for them.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on that. That really is a cool opportunity for student-athletes to go coast to coast, and it kind of reinforces Oregon as a national brand in a way. What has the team been doing in the Big Apple so far?
You know what? I'll tell you in about 30 minutes when they all come back. So I think a bunch of them went shopping. I think there's a number that went to go see the sights. And we kept them off the subway so they don't get lost. I know a bunch of the staff, we just went to the Nike store because we don't have enough Nike gear. Interesting, you talk brand, the first thing you see when you walk in the Nike store is a bunch of Oregon gear. So that was pretty cool. So they've just been hanging out and doing the sights, which is great. Recovery day today, so we'll let them recover by walking around the city.
Really cool. And I'm wondering, what went into scheduling a match like this? Why is Oregon in New York this year? And also, coincidence or not a coincidence that it actually happens on the 21st anniversary of 9/11?
Well, if you go to the scheduling piece, we wanted to get good RPI games. I mean, I think if you look at, when a lot of the West Coast teams play the West Coast teams, there's not as many, teams out west. So we all end up playing each other, driving down the RPI, driving down the win-loss percentages. So we decided to come east to a team that historically do really well within their conference. Hofstra's a really good program. They do a great job there. So that was a chance for us to come out this way and get a good game against a good team that would help us hopefully later down the line with regards to the postseason. And then coincidentally, it lined up with 9/11. And I think just a lot of our kids were not born at the time. So a really good opportunity for them just to, it's just a tragic, time in our country's history. And so it was an opportunity for them to come out and experience that piece. So, a really good road trip for us all around.
Yeah, I wanted to learn more about that. Was there opportunity? I know it's such a quick turnaround, and, in the course of a season, it's just go, go, go. Was there opportunity for some of these student athletes to sit back and reflect on that tragic day that happened 21 years ago?
Yeah, I think when you're in New York City, you know, around this date or around the date yesterday, it's all around on the news. You know, a lot of flags at half-mast, a lot of flags placed in gardens and celebrating, in different places, celebrating people's lives that were lost. And so we were going to take him to the museum today. It's still shut down for security reasons with the ceremonies yesterday, but it's all around you when you're here in New York. And like I said, I think it was great for our kids to be aware of that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Very, very cool. So you go to New York following a 4-1 loss against Santa Clara, a game that kind of just got away from you in the first half in many ways. But how about the resiliency of this group? Did they take that loss at home personally, and how did they channel that anger, that frustration maybe into a road win against Hofstra?
Well, we looked as a group, and we looked kind of in terms of, okay, what are the things that stick out, just the obvious pieces. And if you look at the entire season so far, we haven't been beaten in the second half. So we've been able to get a reaction at halftime through discussions amongst one another with the coaching staff, changes we've made tactically. And so we did that again last night. And, second half performance has been good. So we talked before the game about, how do we have that same mentality going into the first half of the game where, I think, we got that first goal against Santa Clara, and it all started thanks to an Anna Emperor, the tackle she made in the 46th minute. She chased the ball back, made a tackle, and that's been a spark for the rest of the team. And so we talked about how we could get that piece from the start. I think, tactically as coaches, we probably made the wrong decision, setting the team the way that we did in the first half as Santa Clara. Try and rest our legs with regards to just the numbers that we have fit right now. And so we take that on the chin as a coaching staff and make that change. But first half yesterday, we came out flying, and that gave us the momentum to see it right through to the end.
Yeah, that's good to hear. It sounds like there were some lessons learned from that Santa Clara loss, both as a coaching staff and for some of these players, a really young team. What were some of those other lessons that you learned from that match against Santa Clara at home?
In all honesty, they were positives in terms of the second half. We looked at a lot of the positives that we had, players who, are young players for us that don't have the experience that are willing to show that fight that we've always had here. And it's been a staple of who we are. And then, some of the things just in terms of how we defend out in wide areas and some things that Santa Clara did a job exposing us on. So some things we've been able to fix. And that those things will stand us in good stead here moving forward.
Is there a part to, you lose 4-1 to Santa Clara, then you come out with a big match? I'm wondering about the period of time between match number 1 this weekend until match number 2. Was there, part of the team that said, let's flush what happened on Thursday or move on? Or was it more like, let's embrace what happened and learn from it and use it as motivation for our next one?
Well, to be honest, we tried with Friday being a travel day and a long travel day, and we kind of knocked it on the head Thursday after the game. And then we, talked about what lessons, we needed to take into the game on Sunday. And then Saturday, before the game, day before the game, we spoke about what we needed to do. And again, made it about us, nobody else.
I just think that's a really cool experience for a lot of the student athletes here at the University of Oregon to be able to go to the Big Apple and explore the city and get a valuable rep against a tournament team from last year. Not every program does stuff like that, but Oregon is one of those programs that does it. More with Graeme Abel coming up after this. We're coming back to the Country Financial Studio after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Back here on Duck Insider in the Country Financial Studio, as always brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. Thanks for spending the afternoon here with us. Graeme Abel talked to us from Times Square. Here's part 2 with the head coach of Oregon Soccer. The match against Hofstra, one of the things that stood out to me just reading through the recap, it was a little bit hard for a lot of fans to follow this match, so I'm sure they're going to be curious to hear what you have to say. But the defense comes through in a big way for your team. Who stood out on that side of the ball?
You know, our best form of defending actually was our possession of the ball. I thought we did an incredible job playing out of transition against a tough team. We tried to make it tough on a tougher playing surface. It rained the entire night, so it was a quicker surface as well. And, you know, I couldn't pick out one performance. I have to say everybody who was involved, it was an incredible work ethic, incredible commitment to the intensity of how we played. Like I said, we're able to play out of pressure really well, play out in terms of transition to keep the ball. And then Lexi Romero was able to come up with a really good team goal where, you know, Ainsley's been able to play the ball forward, Argene's been able to press and been able to win the ball back in their part of the field. And then, you know, Lexi's there to finish it off. So, again, you know, it sounds a bit cheesy and corny, but it was a really, really good team performance.
Yeah, Lexi Romero, you mentioned her, 2 goals in 2 games, starting to really come into her own as the season progresses. Why do you think that is?
The kids worked incredibly hard, and that's been the piece. You know, she had such a decorated career at Air Force, and she came here and, you know, just kept on trying to adapt. And, you know, when you jump up to the Pac-12 level, it's different. And, you know, she's persevered with it. Could have dropped her head and it could have gotten away from her, but she hasn't. She's persevered. She stayed on task, and now she's getting a reward. So all the credit goes to Lexi and her ability to persevere through it and fight through the tough times.
Yeah, I think that's been true for a lot of players on your team this year, too. Asked to do maybe more than they even expected to do before the season because of those unforeseen injuries. One of the things that you said after this match was that, well, players had to play different roles and switch into different spots, and they did that effectively. Can you expand on that a little bit for fans? What did you exactly mean by that?
You know, Meg Rooker had never played higher up the field for us before in the wide areas. She had to go up higher for us. Laura Kirkby had to play in a wide position there for us for a while. She's typically a midfielder. Bell, we ended up rotating Bell out as a number 2, just on the right side of the back line. Caitlin McCulloch ended up playing higher up in the midfield. And so, you know, and that affects everything we do from set pieces and how we defend different parts of the game. And these kids knew their roles and responsibilities because they've been paying attention in meetings and and in sessions when it's easily to tune out if you're not being spoken about your position. And these kids have stayed locked on, so they were able to slide into those positions and do a job really effectively for us.
Leah Freeman pitches a shutout yesterday, her second of the season, coming off of a performance against Santa Clara where she gives up 4. And obviously it's never all on Leah. It's all connected. How much are you controlling the ball? All that type of stuff goes into it. But is Leah the type of player that felt like she needed to enter this one and have a big game for her team? She had a couple spectacular plays there yesterday.
Leah does that week in, week out for us. And, goals are going to go in. That's part of the position as a goalkeeper. It's your ability to shake that piece off within the game from game to game, compartmentalize what's going on, push it to one side, and move on from there. So, yeah, Leah made a couple of good saves for us within the game. I thought Anna Emperada and Chai Cortez were phenomenal again. And again, both centre-backs. Hofstra had some good forwards, difficult forwards to play against. And both, everyone who played in the back line last night was exceptional.
Do you feel like your team is starting to establish a little bit of an identity as the season progresses? Pac-12 play is obviously around the corner, even though it's not necessarily this week. What is that identity for this group right now?
It's a good question. It's been tough to establish one just because of all the injuries that we've had. I think technically I really like the group. We're able to play. We've got the ability to play longer times if we need to. And I think that identity is going to continue to develop as players come back. We can continue to grow depth that's actually available to play. I mean, I think we've shown great depth in terms of, players who we maybe didn't expect to contribute right away, just in terms of adjusting to the college game, have jumped in right away and contributed right away. But now as we get others back, it gives us more and more options. We showed last night that staple that we've had here for the last 3 years of fighting and clawing and going toe-to-toe, that is back, and that's firmly part of our identity. And I think the rest of it's going to continue to grow now as we keep getting players back from injury.
One of the interesting wrinkles of this trip in particular was the fact that you had to go multiple time zones to play this game. In a season where you go to the mountain schools and you go to the state of Arizona as well, that to me was another valuable piece of this road trip to go play a school that, well, they went into the NCAA tournament and they got to the second round last year.
Yeah, I think it's, we're fortunate, we work and we're part of a school that has the resources where we don't have to go the day before a game. We can go a couple of days before the game, adjust time zone wise, and then actually stay a little bit later as well so we can give the kids that experience as well. So it allowed us just to adjust time zone a little bit. We got in late on Friday. We were able to have a later practice on Saturday and rest the legs and take care of those pieces. So late game last night. So it gave us plenty of time to adjust and ensure we could get the performance that we wanted.
So rest day today, then back to Eugene, getting ready for a matchup with the University of Portland, another really solid program to close out the non-conference. What's training going to be like this week? What's your message to the group as a team to build on a really impressive win yesterday?
So, number one, we get back late tonight into Eugene, so I think we're back about midnight, 1 a.m. tonight. So tomorrow's all about take the day mentally, recover, get away from the soccer piece of things, and then we'll come back together Wednesday and start preparing then, get the legs back into it, and then really knuckle down Thursday in terms of the messaging for the game on Friday.
Yeah, I think you're probably looking forward to the next couple weeks as a coach because after Portland, there's another week off before Pac-12 play, a chance for this team to get a little bit healthier, get their legs back under them before conference play. Are you looking forward to these next 2 weeks and the ability you're going to have to fiddle with things a little bit?
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it's a chance for some of the players who are coming back from injury. They've missed a few weeks in terms of detraining, so we can put them on a slightly different cycle to the rest of the group, ensure they're getting up to speed from a physical standpoint, so we're able to keep them fit through that piece. And then, we start school, so we've got to be conscious of the mental side of things for our kids as well, the mental health side. So we're able just to give them a few extra days off to adjust and make sure that off the field they're able to take care of things as well, so they're organized and they can take care of the academic part.
Well, Coach, I'm glad that you're repping that Oregon green in New York City.
Hey, we've gotten a few Go Ducks out here already, which is awesome.
How about that? Coach Abel joining us on Duck Insider. Coach, thanks for your time, and get home safely with the team. We'll see you on Friday.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate it.
That's Graeme Abel, the head coach of Oregon soccer. Fun interview with Coach Abel. Nice of him to make it work despite the busy day in the city. He just pulled up on a random spot and hopped on Zoom. Appreciate that from Coach Abel. Every game day, so many great things happen. Here's one thing that you may not know about. The Dove Lewis Pet of the Week. For last week, well, it was Atlas, also known as Boogie, a gentle giant. He's a very laid-back dude until, of course, there's swimming or squirrels involved. Harley, better known as Mamacita, is his trusty sidekick. She enjoys clearing countertops, stealing socks, and watching Atlas swim from the shore. Our Pet of the Week is brought to you by Dove Lewis, Oregon's only nonprofit 24/7 emergency animal hospital. One of the cool things about game day, we'll do a Pet of the Week for every Oregon home game this year. Can't wait to show you the Pet of the Week for BYU. A break is coming. We're coming back and going through our Cafe Yum 2-minute drill after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider here in the Country Financial Studio. I'm Jordan Brenner hosting. We're brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. It's time for today's 2-minute drill brought to you by Cafe Yum. So much going on here at the University of Oregon. It's a great week for Ducks in the pros. How about tonight at 6:40, a matchup of 2 former Ducks on the diamond. A division matchup in the NL West. Tyler Anderson for the Dodgers, Ryan Nelson for the Diamondbacks. So cool. Tyler Anderson having a huge season, a 2.73 ERA. He's 14-3 through 154 2/3 innings. He's been almost a lifeline for the Dodgers with all those injuries on the mound. And he's going up against Ryan Nelson, who's coming off of a historic debut. 7 innings last week against the Padres, a win, didn't give up a run, struck out a whole lot of Padres. Manny Machado, Juan Soto, they had no chance against Ryan Nelson. Doesn't get much easier. How about that? Soto, Machado, game 1. Freeman Betts Game 2. Ryan Nelson, welcome to the big leagues. That's going on tonight at 6:40. Also announced today, a kick time for the game against Washington State, which is the first Pac-12 game of the season. It will be broadcast on Fox. Another great time if you're a Duck fan. 1 p.m., the kick at Washington State, Saturday, September 24th, announced by the conference office this Monday morning. And, of course, this week, Ducks and the Cougars. There's Brandon Dorless. How about that graphic if you're watching with us live on YouTube or Facebook? That game going to be at 12:30. Number 12, BYU, 2-0 this season. Impressive win at South Florida. Then the home overtime win against the reigning Big 12 champs in Baylor. BYU coming into Autzen Stadium 2-0, but trust me, they haven't faced a beast like this quite yet. That's going to be a crazy crowd this Saturday. What else is going on? Well, Oregon volleyball, they went out on the road to Big Ten country. Didn't quite get the results they wanted. First, a matchup against number 3 Minnesota, one of the best teams in the country. The Golden Gophers took the first 2 sets. The Ducks won the third set 25-18 and then fought hard in the fourth set. Nearly forced that fifth set. Got better as the match went on, as they have been doing all year. Dropped that fourth set 27-25. They lose that match to the Cougars 3-1. Then they came back and faced Penn State, a team that's undefeated this year. And another gritty match for the Ducks, but it didn't go their way. Penn State won the first set 25-21. The second set, Oregon comes back. They crush the Nittany Lions 25-15. Penn State took the third, the Ducks the fourth, back and forth. And then Oregon ran out of gas on the road, 15-9. Penn State with the win in that fifth set. And the Ducks go 0-2. They fall to 4-2 on the year. But let's not write off Coach Ulmer in this program. Not at all. Figuring some things out. What style are they going to play? How offensive focused do they want to be this year? Last year they were defined by defense. I think they're working with some things. They're trying to be a more versatile, well-rounded club. And, well, reps like this where you travel all the way to Big Ten country to face 2 of the best teams in the country, that's going to get you closer to what you're going to be at the end of the season. The road trip does not end for women's volleyball. They come back to Eugene this week, get settled here, and then they're back on the road this weekend as they face South Carolina in Coral Gables and then Miami in Coral Gables. So back-to-back weeks on the road, multiple time zones away. Scott, that gets you ready for NCAA tournament types of environments. And, well, they certainly faced that in Minnesota. That's one of the best volleyball crowds in the country, right up there with Matthew Knight Arena, if we're being honest. Good show today. We're coming back tomorrow. Dan Lanning is speaking to the media tonight. He'll headline the program tomorrow. I'm Jordan Brenner. Thanks for being with us. Go Ducks. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you